So today we're going to look at The Snowman by Raymond Briggs. This was originally published in 1978 and is still one of my favorite books ever. So let's get into it. The Snowman tells the story of a young boy who makes a snowman and then magically comes to life. But this isn't your typical children's book. It doesn't have any dialogue or narration. It's just pictures, but they are some of the most expressive pictures I've ever seen, and that's how Briggs tells the story. Through the pictures, he shows us the story of the boy and the snowman, and all of their adventures they go on together. We meet our main character in the first spread. He lives in a world full of snow, like an average winter day. In fact, there's a newspaper that says exactly that. Average winter day. He goes out to play, but quickly comes back inside when he realizes he forgot his gloves. That's when he spies the perfect set of gloves, red, white, fluffy, and big. They're on a pair of snowshoes hanging from the mantelpiece. These are a gift from his parents for helping out around the house. He puts them on and heads outside again. He immediately gets to work making a snowman, rolling up a giant snowball, bigger than him even. Then he rolls another smaller one. Now he dresses him up with a top hat and a scarf, and then these same two birds come and land on the snowman's shoulders. The boy decides that his snowman needs some more decoration, so he brings out a carrot and gives it to him as a nose, then uses pebbles to make eyes. Then we see his mom come to the window to admire the snowman, which makes the boy feel really proud. He decides to take his snowman for a walk and they both head out into the snowy countryside. They play in the snowdrifts, sledding down hills. They make angels in the snow, and the snowman even takes a drink from a frozen lake. At one point, the snowman starts to melt, so the boy carries him on his back to keep him safe. They have such fun together, and the illustrations show us just how happy the boy is. You can tell because his smile is so big, it stretches all the way from ear to ear. And look at the size of those cheeks, all rosy from playing outside in the cold weather. As the sun begins to set, it's time for the snowman to head home before he melts completely. The boy opens the front door for him, and they bring him inside to dry out. They put him next to the radiator, and while the snowman dries, the boy plays with his toys. The snowman starts to come to life. First, his eyes move. Then he yawns and stretches his arms. He looks around the room, as if taking in everything for the very first time, then sits down in a chair. The boy leaves the room for a moment, leaving the snowman alone. That's when the snowman starts to come to life properly. He stands up and walks around the room, tipping over a wastebasket, looking in the refrigerator, and even opening up the fridge with his twiggy arms. When the boy comes back into the room, he sees the snowman moving about and is shocked. But then, he quickly becomes very happy, because now he has a real friend to play with. They have a wonderful time playing together. They roll a ball back and forth to each other, and the snowman even does a little dance. Briggs shows us that the snowman is still a bit stiff from being frozen solid for so long, but he moves better and better as the night goes on. They have a party together, dancing around the room with music coming from a radio in the corner. And at one point the snowman even climbs onto the table and starts eating cake with a knife and fork. At first he cuts his piece of cake with way too much force, almost going off the table, but then he slows himself down and enjoys his snack. After the party, it's bedtime. So the boy and the snowman get ready for bed. They take off their clothes and get into pajamas. The boy even brushes the snowman's teeth with a large toothbrush. After brushing, they get under the covers. The boy sleeps in his bed, and the snowman takes up the entire living room floor, but they're both very tired, so it doesn't take long for them to fall asleep. The next morning, the boy wakes up early and sneaks out of bed. He doesn't want to wake anyone up. He doesn't want them to know he was playing with a real live snowman. He tiptoes past the sleeping snowman and heads to the kitchen to make breakfast. While he's making food, we can see that the snowman is slowly melting away. The boy eats his breakfast and watches his friend slowly disappear. He tries to hide the evidence, putting the snowman's clothes back on him, but it's no use. By lunchtime, the snowman has melted completely. All that's left of him is a puddle and the boy's red, white, fluffy, and big gloves. The boy throws the gloves back on the mantelpiece where he found them. He's sad that the snowman has melted, but also knows that this happens every year, and we know that he will be making a brand new snowman soon. Let's talk about some of the things that make The Snowman such a great graphic novel. First of all, the illustrations. Like I said earlier, the whole story is told through pictures. There's not a single word of narration or dialogue. Briggs uses color, lighting, composition, and body language to convey the entire story. Look at this spread. For example, we can see the snowman's stiff joints. He's having trouble keeping up with the boy. His body is drooping and sagging. Look at the angle of his head. He's literally looking down. All of this tells us that the snowman is struggling, and we understand this without seeing any dialogue or hearing anything he says. Another thing that makes The Snowman such a great graphic novel is the pacing. Because Briggs doesn't have to worry about writing any dialogue or narration, he can focus on just telling the story. He keeps the story moving at a steady pace. One thing leads to the next, and we never feel like the story is dragging or that it's rushed. A third thing that I think makes The Snowman such a great graphic novel is the emotion. As I mentioned earlier, Briggs uses body language to help convey the emotion in the story, but he also uses color and lighting to do the same thing. Take the spread, for example. The boy is building the snowman, and he looks so proud of himself. Notice the bright, warm colors that Briggs uses to illustrate the scene. The sun is shining brightly in the sky. There's a warm glow over everything. This helps us feel the boy's pride. Another thing that helps convey the emotion in the story is the camera angles. For example, here the boy is looking at the snowman with wide eyes. The camera is low to the ground, looking up at the snowman. This makes the snowman seem larger than the boy. It makes him seem more imposing. The camera angle helps us feel the awe that the boy feels. Now, let's take a look at this spread. The snowman is melting and the boy is watching him go. Notice the cool colors that Briggs uses. The sky is gray, the trees are bare. Everything seems washed out. This helps us feel the sadness that the boy feels. I love The Snowman. It's one of my favorite books ever. I think it's a great story that's beautifully illustrated. It's a must-read for everyone. Well, that wraps up our look at The Snowman by Raymond Briggs. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.